Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello crafters, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. Today I'm going to be making a card using the Love from Lizi July 2023 card kit, and it's called Peach Blossom. This is the second card that I'm making using this kit, and it's going to be a side panel or pillar card. So to make this A2 card, you'll need a piece of cardstock measuring 8.5 by 5.5 and score it at 4.25. Once we fold that over, we'll then add a sentiment, and as you can see there, I have my sentiment already in place. I used a sympathy stamp from my stash for this card because I'm going to put on the front of this card warm hugs, and that is a sentiment that came in the stamp set that was in the kit. Okay, so once we have our card base scored and folded, we can then burnish that score line. Next, I have this piece of white cardstock. Now this piece measures, let me see, 5.5 by 4.5. On the 4.5 side, you'll need to do some score lines, and I have a score line of 1/2 inch, 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5. This is going to make up the pillar that will sit on the side of our card here. So these will all be mountain folds, and it's best again to burnish these score lines. So again, using my scoring tool, I'm just going to burnish those. The cardstock that I'm using here is 300 GSM cardstock, so it's a nice heavy weight. So now, once we have these scored and burnished, we're going to do some gluing. So I'm going to do that before we move on to this part. So I want to take this panel and I'm going to fold it on the second score line from the left. I'm going to add some adhesive along this 1/2 inch tab, and then I'm going to fold this one over on top, and that'll give us our pillar that'll go on there. So to do that, I'm going to use my quick grab glue, and this is the Cosmic Shimmer glue that I'm using. I find this glue is really good because if any of it splurges out, then it'll just wipe off, or I can use an adhesive eraser. It also doesn't leave any tacky residue, and some glues, they do leave a residue if it oozes out. So I have pressed that down that way. Now I'm going to pop it over and press it down this way, and that's just to make sure that our pillar will fold flat when we want to put it into our envelope. So now that I have this piece on here, I want to add the pillar to my card base, and it's going to sit on there like so, and that'll be in line with the card base. So when we want to fold our pillar card, this piece will fold flat because we're only going to glue one side of this down. So to put it in the envelope, we just flatten that like so, and it all goes flat. Now we need to embellish this. So we have these mats and layers, and I think if I'd have showed you these before we actually put the pillar together, you'd be like, Simone, that doesn't fit right. But it will fit right with the panel, with our pillar here. So this will fit in here like so. So these two pieces, this one measures 3 by 5.25, and this one measures 2 3/4 by 5 inches. And like I said, those two are going to fit on there. Then we have these. So my 3 pieces here, these measure 3/4 inch by 5.25, and these 3 will sit on each side of our pillar like so. And then onto those we have 3 pieces of pattern paper, and our pattern paper measures 1/2 inch by 5 inches, and I'll pop them on there like that. Then I have these 3 pieces. So our white piece measures 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. Then our brown piece measures 3 by 4 1/4, and our pattern paper measures 2 3/4 by 4. These 3 pieces will sit on here, and then this piece will sit on here, and it'll sit right to the edge of our pillar, and then when that folds flat, this will sit on here. So the whole thing will fit into an A2 size card. I've got a piece of ephemera then, this little floral sprig, that's going to go on the front of my panel, and I'll use some foam for that. I've stamped warm hugs onto this little strip that came in the ephemera pack as well. And then I've used the die, the little heart die that came in the die set that we got here, this little heart die. I used that to die cut out 2 hearts. I'm going to pop 2 of them on the front, and then this one will go on the inside. So that's all our pieces. It's a matter of assembling our card now. So let's do that together next. So now I have our pillar, and you can see where our little tab has joined on the back there. We want to make sure that is sitting on our card base. You could use your Cosmic Shimmer glue. I'm going to use the Collal glue to glue this down. So again, I'm going to put my Collal glue on the back piece, the side that has our tab, and I'm going to run that the whole way along the bottom. Then I'm going to pop this on to my card base. I'm going to line everything up. So if I pop it down like this, I can make sure that it's lined up. And then what I can do is I can fold that down and add a little bit of pressure on there. And we'll just give the Collal glue a minute for that to set. And once that's done, then we can add our pattern paper and our matte layer. So now we have all our mats and layers are glued down. We have some foam tape on the back of our lovely floral piece. We're ready now to assemble. So the first thing I'm going to do is add my pieces onto the pillar, and I'm going to use my Collal glue to do that. And I know with the pillar that's going to be facing the front, we could have just added little pieces to the top and bottom. But I was quite happy to do the full strip, so it's really up to you what your preference is, and I'll show you what I mean by that now in just a moment. So we'll pop this one down here. So when we add this piece on here, that's going to sit on like so. So we could have just put a little piece of the pattern paper in here if we wanted, but I thought it would be a very tiny piece, and so yeah, I went with the full strip. So it's up to yourself whether you want to go with the full strip or not. So now we'll just add this piece to the inside part of our pillar, and then we can add our mat and layer on the card base itself. So there we go. And now for the inside, I'm just going to add one of my little hearts in here. I think I'll do it down at the bottom. And you don't have to go with such a big sentiment like what I have in, but I'll just write my message on this side of the card when I give it to the recipient. So I'm going to use my tweezers now to add a little bit of glue to this piece. And then I can stick that down right there. Lovely. So there we go. There is our side panel pillar card, and it stands up beautifully. It'll fold flat to go into an envelope, well, flattish, allowing for my foam that's on the front of it. But this will still go into an American A2 size envelope. It should sit in there perfectly. And there we go. I think the papers are so beautiful. We wouldn't often think of a sympathy card, but I think the black that's in this will lend well to a sympathy card. The only thing I'm going to do to finish this card off is I'm going to take some of my accent glaze and I'm going to add some to the center of the flowers here, just for a little bit of definition. And I'm going to put a little dot on each of the stamens there for the center of our flower. So I'm going to do that here. So I hope you've enjoyed my video. If you have, you might give it a thumbs up. If you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing. And if not, you might click on the subscribe button, ding the bell, and all those things. That way, the next time I post a video, you'll be notified. If you enjoyed my video and you'd like to share your makes, you can do that on the Love from Lizi Facebook group, as well as my group, Your Cards and Crafts. Links to everything are down in the description, as well as the card measurements. So that's it. That is our sympathy card, our warm hugs card, and with our side pillar. And I just think this is lovely. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon for card number 3. Bye for now.